What changed in your life that made it so much better? Giving up on trying to cure being an introvert and just being happy. Introverts have just as much fun, there are just fewer witnesses. Yes. For years I was convinced I chose the wrong career, and I was getting extreme anxiety, had to pull the car over a couple times going to work because of panic attacks. Lockdown happens a year ago and all my stress disappeared and I realized I love my career, I just hate office living and commuting. My biggest fear is the pandemic ending and being forced back into that terrible office culture. Starting therapy. Breaking up with my ex and finding someone who was so much better for me. It makes a world of difference. My mental and physical health improved. It's pretty incredible how a miserable relationship can drag you down, and how a happy one can change you for the better. Leaving the Mormon Church. I stopped caring so much. For as long as I remember I've felt a burden of responsibility to my parents, my brother, to myself. Throughout my whole life my parents have relied on me to be the voice of reason, to be the one who has sound mind, to be the one good with finances, to give them advice. It's not healthy for a kid to be put under that kind of pressure, and it just built and built until they filed for bankruptcy in 2017, and when I burned out at work last year. I went to therapy for a bit for the third time after I burned out and realized that I'm putting up such a high bar of responsibility for myself and it made my life ridiculously miserable. I'm still working and going to school, but having a more relaxed attitude and almost forcing myself to procrastinate on my schoolwork has made my life so much more enjoyable. Edit, for those who might be wondering, the whole concept of a kid being emotionally neglected and unfairly relied on is called parentification. Reading about it was super helpful for me in case anyone needs the term. Finally telling my best friend that I was in love with them. We've been dating for 2 years now and every moment is like living in a dream. They're sitting next to me right now cluelessly singing out loud with headphones in and I'm obsessed. Also, COVID has allowed me to drive around the country while working remotely and actually do a lot of the hikes that have always been on my bucket list. It really changed my life by reaffirming my long-term goals: stay healthy, get outdoors when I can. Had a kid. My father died when I was a baby and my mother never remarried. I'm happy to give my kid a 2-parent home and full attention. So weird that I can think of it as a redo on my life, but my son is a completely different person than me. All I know is that I have to be there for him every day and be consistent. I decided a long time ago to improve myself daily. My life has improved significantly since then. Went from facing 6 years in prison, working fast food to making over $100K per year and living pretty cozy. Can't wait to see what I can do in the next decade. I quit smoking weed. I'm more productive and organized than ever. My depression is gone, too. Dreaming is nice. I also enjoy remembering things and never being too high to do anything. Writing in a journal. Even if it's just I existed. Accepting yourself is truly liberating. There's one important aspect of being an introvert or extrovert. As an introvert, you recharge by being alone. Extroverts recharge by being around people. I occasionally enjoy being around people, and I'm good at being social. I even perform music in public. However, when I'm done with all that, I go home and have to unwind. If I go long periods of time without enough alone time, I start getting progressively more irritated and frustrated. I actually feel happy and at peace when I'm alone. Other people will tell me they feel lonely, or like their apartment feels empty. For me it's a direct source of happiness, this isolation and peace. I don't want a family, a partner or even pets. I don't even like hearing neighbors around. Solitude is freedom. My biological mother is an abusive drug-addicted, alcoholic who put everything, including her other daughter, above her youngest child. When I was 11, Child Services placed me with my dad and his partner, my mum, for all purposes of the word except birthing. In Australia, previously I was in NZ. It's been a bumpy road, but I'm now 19, living out of home, have my license, own car, stable job and am studying at uni. I couldn't have done it without my parents, and I have the loving, caring, supportive mum I craved as a child. There was 10 minutes where I didn't know if I was going into foster care or with my dad, and it was the scariest 10 minutes of my life, but ultimately that decision was the best thing that happened to me. My GF of 7 years left me. She was a lying, cheating, self-absorbed psychopath who literally told me she doesn't understand other people's emotions and just expected the passage of time with no genuine remorse or anything to heal all wounds. I would always say that if she couldn't tell the truth and be faithful then she needed to fuck off. And she would stay, so I kept trying to make it work like a good little idiot until she fucked up again. Well, eventually she moved out without warning while I was out of town for work. At the time I was so pissed at her, but now not only am I glad she finally fucked off, but if she came back begging and pleading and promising to make everything perfect, I'd still slam the door in her face. Since she's been gone I've had so much less stress and have been able to accomplish so much more not having to accommodating her, and I've even lost weight even though I don't work out or eat any differently than I did when we were together. I do feel lonely since we were together for 7 years and my relationship before her was for 5. I'm not used to being alone and I miss sex like crazy, but my hand doesn't finish before me and go limp and give me the hurry up look, so I'll get over it. Quitting alcohol. My life has completely changed in only the best ways. Most notably, I've accomplished all of my dreams. I went back to school and earned my bachelor's, found the love of my life and got married, lost a bunch of weight and somehow look like I've aged backwards. Now my only problem is coming up with new dreams. Same here, man. Got about a semester left. Quitting drinking was the best decision I've ever made in my life. If anyone out there is reading this and is thinking about quitting, do it. It may take a few tries, but it's absolutely worth the effort and it's everything you hoped it can be. And now my only problem is coming up with new dreams. And so, with all the dreams I had, with all that extra time, I bought myself a writing pad, and wrote a pantomime. I took a walk around the park to watch the birds in flight, I sat and stared, and after dark, I viewed the stars at night. I learned to craft a boat or two to sail across the sea. I found the perfect thing to do, and spent some time with me. I shaped myself a silver scene of homes and hills and lakes. I made a glossy magazine for baking tasty cakes. I took a swim beyond the tide and through the foam and spray. The world was waiting just outside for me to start the day. I wandered roads and streets and streams, and lands from sands to shore. I lived my hopes. I lived my dreams. And then I made some more. Got out of Syria, not safe yet, but it's a lot better right now. Cutting ties with hateful, angry people in my family. I've done the same. 2 years clean of their bullshit, but I'm still processing just how much damage they did. Life is way better without them. Hope you're living your life as you want without them. Going from working a 9-to-5 office job to 100% remote. I wish I'd done this years ago.